Section 6 of Chapter 32 discusses charging by induction. So we've already talked about charging by friction, the example of dragging your feet across the carpet, or we saw in the video the demonstrator rubbing the rod with the rabbit fur. We also saw charging by contact. So when you touch a neutral object with a charged object, that charge can be transferred. So now we're going to talk about a third method of charging, and that is by induction. And induction can happen without actually touching anything, so it can happen without contact. So there's a key thing we need to understand here, and that is that these uncharged, so right now we've got two neutral metal spheres, they are insulated from the surface. So these stands that they are on do not conduct any charge. Also, that when they are touching, they're going to behave like a single object. So any charge that's located in A could travel through to B. So here's how induction is going to work. First, we're bringing a negatively charged rod close to that pair of spheres. So here we can see the negative charges on this rod, probably charged by friction, and it's being brought near these two spheres. Now notice what happens to the charges inside those spheres. So inside those spheres there were already some positive charges, there were some negative charges, but they were balanced. Now when we bring that negative rod near the spheres, notice it repels all the negatives to the opposite side of sphere B. And all the positives are going to be attracted, right? Opposite charges attract. So the positive charges are attracted to the close side. So we say that those charges have been redistributed or induced. Then, if we take that rod away, so we're going to remove the rod from the scenario, and we're going to separate those two spheres. So pull sphere B away and pull the rod away, and what we will see is that all of those positives, now they have no way of redistributing back again because they've been separated. So now all of the charges, or all of the positive charges, are going to remain in sphere A, and all of the negative charges are going to remain in sphere B. There's one more example we'll talk about, and that is inducing a charge through grounding. And so let's walk through this step by step. So in picture A, we have an uncharged metal sphere separated from the table or separated from the ground by an insulating stand. In picture B, we are inducing a charge. Okay, we are bringing a negatively charged rod near that sphere. And just like we saw before, the positive charges are going to be attracted to that negative rod, and the negative charges are going to be repelled to the opposite side of the sphere. Here's where it is a little bit different. In part C, we are now touching that metal rod, or that metal sphere. So we're touching that sphere, and we're giving a pathway for those negative charges to flow through us towards the ground. Okay, so the ground can accept basically an infinite number of charges. So when we touch that, those charges are going to flow through our body to the ground. So that when we're done, all that is left are the positive charges that were attracted to the negative rod. If we then remove that rod, those positive charges will redistribute throughout the metal sphere.